Welcome to the Infinite Life with Katische Haberfield. I'd like to take you on a transformative journey, exploring the mysteries of the soul. I hope you enjoy the regression case studies, mediumship interviews, and fascinating discussions that I've had with guests on the podcast. I hope that these answer some of the questions that you might have about life on this planet, on others, and in other dimensions. Thank you for joining me, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. And, most importantly, share with your friends. Namaste. Welcome back to the Infinite Life with Katische Haberfield podcast. I'm your host, Katische Haberfield, and this week I'm so excited to bring to you the first of the mediumship sessions for True Wealth. So I've just recorded this session earlier today. It's the 3rd of June, 2025 in Australia. So I have a beautiful lady from United States of America who's my first client, and her name is Diane. Now, she has been a client of mine before, and she's also been on the podcast before in the Healer's Path season. So I will try and link that in the show notes. Otherwise, you can look back to this season. If you go on to Apple Podcasts, let me find it and show you, those of you who are watching this on YouTube. If you go to Apple Podcasts, you can actually click on the episodes and choose the season. Wow, was it a long time ago? Yes, it was a very long time ago. Season 8. So on season 8, episode 4, 5, and 6 is Diane's 3 sessions she did with me, which were an age regression, a past life regression, and a future life progression. Now, I'm mentioning this because we actually refer to this in this mediumship session now that I've completed it. So you can go back and listen to those 3 episodes to give you an insight into how previously Diane has worked with her spirit team and how she's used regression to progress to the moment where she is now. So at this moment, we are experiencing great solar energy on the planet, which I will talk about. So if you see this message in time, or this podcast, listen to this podcast in time, send me a message and I'll open up special bookings to take advantage of this energy. Otherwise, you can book at katische.com. You'll see what I mean by a lot of people get confused when I suddenly offer mediumship sessions because they're used to going into regression to the between life state to doing mediumship themselves. And they get to speak directly with their loved ones. However, I wanted this season to bring through some different energies and to demonstrate that there are many different ways that you can get messages from spirit. So this includes direct mediumship, where I am the vessel, the person who receives the message. And you can also do this through regression therapy sessions because you in a trance, in a hypnotic state, and you get to interact with your spirit guides and loved ones who are healed in the other side. So just wanted to put that little precursor to the Mediumship for True Wealth session today. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know in the comments, wherever you are listening or watching this. I love feedback. I like to hear what you actually thought about it. Did you get some insights into your own life? There are certainly insights into my life that I got when I was doing the session and also as I watched back. So thank you. And don't forget to share with a friend, because you never know which one of your friends at work or in your extended family might need to hear some of the things that are said in this episode today. And they might also need to know that you're open to this sort of stuff, because a lot of spirituality is hush-hush. Oh, here's Max joining me. A lot of people don't even talk to their own family members, me included, about their gifts and mediumship, and it's still seen as being controversial to talk to the dead. So let's break those stereotypes and let's involve our friends, family, and colleagues with understanding these things are real. And that's why I do it on this podcast, because I want to demonstrate and to show to you live on camera that these things are not made up. Because sometimes we do need to believe it before we see it, and other times it just helps a lot to see it so that we can believe it and decide if it's the right thing for us. And if it's not, it's not. Perfectly okay. I'm not here to convert anybody to my ways of thinking, just to show you what I experience in my life. So namaste, and thank you for joining me once again. Hi, Diane.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm really well. How are you?
I'm good. I just came out of acupuncture, so
Oh, okay. How are you feeling?
I feel good. Yeah.
So you had acupuncture?
Yeah, I had it.
Yeah, you look very relaxed.
Yes. And I know. Okay, I know I have the headset, because I remember we need a headset, right?
Yeah, because this is a podcast session, so you're good with that?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I do have, what do you call it? Something to lay on. I don't know. Do I lay down?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No, because it's me. It's me doing the mediumship, so you don't have to get relaxed or do anything.
Oh, okay. Didn't know if we did that. Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if you'd had a mediumship session with me before. You've only done the regression sessions, right?
Yeah, just the regression sessions. Because
Yeah,
I know my mother came through and the poem thing, but that was totally
different. That was ad hoc. Yeah. So when you get off this call, go and check out my Facebook page. I just posted. I took a video with all the lights off to show you the orbs that are here right now. So the orbs are spirit team.
Oh,
So,
it's on your Facebook page?
yeah, you can see it after we finish. So one of the things that I love to do is, if I am intentionally connecting with spirit, your phone can pick it up.
Oh, okay.
You just turn the lights down low and you turn the camera around so it's not recording you, it's recording away for you. So you're going to make sure it's dark. You will see the orbs come floating by.
Okay.
It's amazing. So it's also good if you're feeling afraid or something and you're wanting to call in spirit team and you want to be reassured, like you're having a really down moment. And I'll put this on the podcast too, because I think it's really helpful. The way I see spirit is the orbs that you will see on the video. I can see them through my eyes, but I have to really concentrate. So when I'm looking, I can see spirit as round circles, like orbs, but they're very small when I see them through my eye rather than through the camera. When I see what I would call the presence of a negative thought form or a negative entity around, and I need help, like I can't, I feel like I'm frozen, and I'm like, there's a negative thought form or a negative entity, or there's something here that is really making me go like, ugh. What I will notice is those orbs will turn black.
Mm-hmm.
And then I call in the archangels and I say, rescue spirits of light, please come and help me. I'm having trouble with my words because the energy is freezing my thoughts. And I'll go, and then I know how big the energy is by how frozen I am. And I'll eventually go out, call out, rescue warriors of light, please come and help me, and please bring the spiritual police with you. By the time I say spiritual warriors and spiritual police, that energy is gone. And I know we're not talking about ghosts in this session, but sometimes what happens is, the energy of connecting with spirit can bring in ghosts from around, like especially with me and living near a hospital. And so if I feel that negative energy, it's because what's happening is there's a ghost who's afraid, right? And so they've got both the clear orb and the black orb together. And so what I'm essentially asking spirit to do is to help the ghost go to the light. But that spirit, the negative energy, is holding them back. And so what I'm asking the archangels and the angels to do, and the warriors of light and the spirit of truth, is to separate that energy.
Okay.
Because it's the energy that's holding them back. And then what you see is really amazing, is that you'll see the orb goes straight up like that. Goes straight up in front of your eyes. And you know they've gone straight to the angels. And this one here, what it has done is it has turned into white, and it goes up as well.
The negative.
Yeah, it turns into light, because all negative is pure in its makeup. And so what happens is that the reason that I'm telling this is, because part of this session is spiritual lessons. And so what I wanted to do was just to connect with that intention, that my intention was before we started, that there would be no friends, family, or ancestors who hadn't gone to the light come and connect in this session. Why? Because although I am a ghost rescue medium, that's not the intention of this session.
Gotcha.
And I wanted your strongest representatives to come through, because what we're looking at is True Wealth Blueprint, right? And so the purpose of True Wealth Blueprint is that we don't want somebody who's still in the life review process coming in and saying something to you when they don't have the full healed picture of themselves and they haven't had any specialized insight or training. So what I do is I set that intention when I designed this season, and I said, right, okay, Archangel Michael, Zachariel, and Azrael, you can do your thing in the background if we get any energy that comes in, because, like I'm here where I am and you are at a workplace and everything, and they will hold off that energy. It's like creating a boundary, right? So that energy can't come through. And I've pre-authorized them to work in the background, doing whatever they need to do to keep the energy pure for your session, so that we only get the intention of understanding the most important things that can create change for you through True Wealth Blueprint. And so the other thing that I just wanted to explain to you in terms of how I see energy when I'm not in a session, but it's helpful for people, especially in midlife, is that sometimes you get so good at doing this, and there's no reason that you can't either, is that you can see your thoughts. What do you mean you can see your thoughts? Well, like you can see orbs, and you can train yourself to see orbs, and some people can see auras, and that's not my strength because I can see other things. Thoughts appear. You know how, like, as you get older and middle age, your eyesight, you start to notice squiggly lines that are in your vision, which they call some kind of a medical terminology. They're like, some people go, oh, I can see the worms in your eyes. And it's like, no, they're not worms, but it's part of the
waters.
Eyes. Yeah. But like that, if you look past that, past your physical eye, and say, all right, I can see orbs. Let me see thought forms. Thought forms appear similar to orbs do, but they are more like horizontal, not vertical, horizontal, and they're more rectangular in shape, but they're feathered. So if you imagine a feather floating by, right? A feather, really thin, a really thin feather will show you. If you're suddenly sitting there and you're thinking, geez, I'm stuck in a moment of swirling thoughts. I can't get to my intuition, right? My intuition is my power to connect to my spirit guides and my higher self. What's happening? So you take a bit of a moment and you say, let me see if I'm surrounded by a lot of thoughts. And if you go past your own vision and look, say, I'm going to look for like an orb, but I'm aware it's a thought, you can see lots of thoughts floating around you. It's amazing. And the reason that I point this out is that you can then see negative thoughts, because they'll be the dark or the grey color ones. Then you can see the light colored ones. And so you're like, well, thoughts are just like clouds. They float past me, right? But they can be some of mine, and they can be other people's. So, like in your office, there's heaps of thoughts. And so do you know what you do if you're surrounded by a lot of thoughts? You say, rescue spirits of light, could you please come and help me? These thoughts need to be integrated into the universal mind.
Okay. Okay.
And so what does that do? They will slowly dissipate and fade from your sight. And it's almost exactly like when the angels come and grab the ghosts. The higher self comes and takes those thoughts and takes them and sends them back to not only source, but the energy that is represented by universal consciousness. And why is that important? And I've only recently learned this bit. That is important because there are people like you and me on this earth right now who are here to help people, right? And we do our own personal work, our own personal healing, you know. But we also, as light bringers, we have collective healing that we do as well. And so you and I, in particular, have been learning a lot about the journey of healing, but also the journey about money and wealth and what that means to humanity. So sometimes the thoughts that can surround us are thoughts that Mother Gaia is bringing to the surface to heal humanity's understanding of money and true wealth. So sometimes you can actually have thoughts that you think are your own, but they're not yours. It's because you are a way shower, a wayfarer, a light bringer, and a healer. And part of your higher self has said, right, now that she knows how to do this, she's going to be aware that sometimes she can't identify with those thoughts and they're not past lives. They're nothing that I need to go into the Akashic records to heal. But I just go, wow, isn't that fascinating? And you can feel it in your heart space. It starts to go, oh, what a privilege. Here is something that maybe I have 1% of a struggle with, but humanity has a greater 99% of struggle with it. Let me now call in my higher self and source energy to please reintegrate that. And what does it do? It means that that gets healed. And so what happens is that it means that there's less of that energy on the earth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So just some tips there, because it can seem overwhelming sometimes to think, like right now in humanity, there are lots of people struggling with wealth, you know, and it's not just us. We have to remember that we're here to heal ourselves, but we're here to help others. And sometimes we can just simply focus and say, let me check in with my vision. Can I feel something that's not mine? Can I see a feather? Can I see a light one? And can I see a dark one? Do I have to physically do anything? Change my actions, my behaviors, or whatever? No, it's just about awareness. And as we know scientifically, once you focus in on awareness, it changes. And what does it do? Well, when you remember to call in help, then they deal with it automatically, and then it's filtered and reunited, and then that energy becomes less on earth. So I just wanted to put that in as part of that.
And what do you say once I realize I have these, thoughts here? I call it higher self.
Higher self or rescue spirits of light. I mean, I call in rescue spirits of light because that's just the first thing that comes into my mind. It's like, help, rescue spirits of light. But if you have a deity or an archangel or a special being that is your help, you know what I mean? Maybe it's like Jesus, Mother Mary, whoever it is. Then call Mother Mary, for example, and just say, I'm seeing those things. She knows. She's here right now, so she knows. She's like, I got you, Diane. And then she does the work. You don't have to do anything. It's just, as the angels and archangels have always said to us, and so does Jesus, you have to ask for help. And so part of this, the fact that you were the first person to put your hand up for this session is...
I didn't say anything on social media. I mean, I'm like, I'll just heart it.
Yeah, but it shows. I always said the people that come on the podcast are very special souls because their higher self has already agreed to be a teacher.
And then the day is, I read your, what you said today is, I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Soul storm. Yeah. So it's a way of bringing light onto the earth. It helps Gaia, and it helps basically whenever we have greater, the Schumann resonance goes. And so what that means is that, yes, we can also feel some negative energy and thoughts come out because it's purifying, basically. So on days like today, if you come overwhelmed, you've got to drink more water to flush it out. But if you're aware that you're feeling intensity, then you just call in help, because you just know that today is a day for Earth to purge anything that it no longer requires, and to bring in more light into the hearts and minds of all humanity. So that's what a solar storm is even if it's rainy, thunderstorming and cloudy, it is bringing more solar rays into the world so that the light can shine on all of our bodies, physical.
The energy is pretty, like my heart, I don't know, it was like pounding real heavy. Not so much now, but like I was trying to take a nap because I got up at 5:30. I couldn't sleep very well. And I'm like, my heart is just going really fast. I could not nap.
Yeah. And so just a tip with that too is what I found is hand on heart, hand on tummy.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just put a beautiful visualization on my website. It's called the sorting jacket. No, it's not. Sorting hat, sorting vest. Harry Potter. Not the sorting hat, the sorting vest. And one of the main things it teaches you to do is to learn how to communicate with the sentience of your body.
Mm-hmm.
Because as you know, when you go to that life between lives, the between lives session, you can see who you chose to be in this lifetime. And so everybody chooses a suit. You chose the suit of Diane, and you are Diane, and you've come into your body, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the body exists before you existed. Your mother made you in her womb. Oh, here she is. Yep. Your mother made you in her womb. And so the body has its own sentience and consciousness, and we're not taught that. And so when we have a racing heart, if you learn to connect with the sentience of Diane's body, and you say, body, I love you, please help me calm down, it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You just say, body, please, peace. And you will be able to feel that the body will do that even before you put your hands to your heart and your tummy, because the body goes, light bulb moment, oh, I can control this. I can have a role in this. And then you learn to work symbiotically.
Okay.
So that's just a tip. So now that your mother's here, what I wanted to check for you is the meaning of true wealth for you, because we're looking at true wealth blueprint. Now, true wealth can cover, as you know, we've worked with our good friend Katie Carey, and she and many other spiritual teachers teach that true wealth is lots of components of your life. So there's career, there's physical money, there's health, there's spiritual and religious beliefs, there's family, there's major categories, there's friendship, and there's service to community. And they all make up the overall perspective of what you as a soul considers as your true wealth, and then you as Diane in this incarnation consider as your true wealth. And I notice when I've been watching you on TikTok, a lot of your reels at the moment are about family and showing people about balance and living life and enjoying in the moment. So what I wanted to connect with you today was so I can direct the spirits that are here for you, because one of them is going to step forward. Do you have a focus or an intention of which specific aspect of true wealth that you would like them to focus on?
So where I'm at right now is turning this business from part-time into full-time. It's struggling. So that was kind of what I was feeling the focus would be, because I feel that I have wealth. So I feel like I have wealth like in all the other areas, struggling there. And then the other area, just before we make a decision if it's there, I also struggle with, you have a certain amount of money, but then I'm not comfortable spending it, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Those are my two areas of And the business so was not going well that I just was trying to put in my 30-day notice to vacate the rent here,
Okay.
but it didn't work out. I got it down a little bit until the end of October, then I'll be vacating.
Okay. All right. Okay. So let's connect in. And I feel, first of all, there is a universal consciousness that would like to come through. Do you feel a connection with Mother Mary yourself personally? Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. So the divine feminine essence, that can also be seen through the wisdom of Shakti, but I think we'll go with Mother Mary. What she wants you to do is she wants you to connect with the feeling in your heart and understand whether, when you look at spending money, do you feel an anxiety and a fear because you feel that spending money takes you out of your femininity and into your masculinity? What would you say that your response would be?
Does it take me out of my femininity into my masculine?
It's just a question.
No.
No. Okay. All right, good. Because she's saying to relate to me that I am learning in this lifetime to connect with my feminine essence. So sorry, I need to look over here because this is where the energy is. And she says, for me, part of the problem has been, and she was just wanting to check with your knowing. She says, Katische, when she spends money, she feels very masculine because she identifies from the stereotypes she created for herself as a small child of the father is the breadwinner, even though her mother did go back to work and train and became the ultimate provider. Now that her father is in the light, she strongly associates spending with masculinity, and she has tried to do that herself, but she also has tried to learn to be feminine and receive. So we just wanted to clear out in your mind, does the fear that comes to you with regard to spending cash and assets come from fear of stepping into a masculine energy? That was the first thing she wanted to check. So
Yeah,
that was
definitely
definite.
no. Yeah.
No. Okay.
I feel I have more male energy than female energy.
Okay. All right. So what is the energy that you feel that comes up that causes you the feeling? So she's asking you to check when you go to spend money, because you brought that up, what is the thoughts, emotion, or the feeling that comes through for you? What is it that provides a block?
That I won't have enough.
Okay, not enough. Okay.
I feel safe. I feel safer knowing I have a certain amount stashed away.
Okay. And she's also, because sometimes these messages is for me as much as they are for you, because that's that. She says Katische can identify with you as well, because she feels safer when there's, for example, no debt in her life. But as she said, entrepreneurs need to learn to embrace the concept of spending in order to receive. But it's part of getting your energy out in the world. So she says to connect with you. Can you feel in your body right now, maybe the crown chakra, whereabouts in your body can you feel the energy of Mother Mary herself connecting with you? Where do you feel?
Heart chakra.
Heart chakra, great. She says that's exactly where Katische feels it as well. All right. So she says, so just lock in that energy, that feeling. And do you see a picture of me, she says?
Yes.
How do you? Yes. Okay. See that visualization? So can we put the picture of Mary, Mother Mary, in your heart as well, please?
Yes.
Okay, great. And now, just as a safeguard, do you see a color rose?
Yeah. The color rose. like a
Yeah.
like a rose, right?
Yeah. What color do you see?
I'm seeing pink.
Yes. Okay, great. So do I. Baby pink?
What's that?
Do you see it as like a baby ballerina pink?
Yeah,
Perfect. Great.
yeah.
Now put that rose in your heart as well.
Okay.
So if you ever get to a point where you are needing to make a decision, right,
Mhm.
and you can't connect with Mother Mary's energy because some other emotion comes up, she will flash a baby pink rose in your eye.
In my eye. Okay.
Yeah, your third eye, right? And so that's
My
coming from
third
the
eye?
heart. Yeah.
My-
So yeah, so you'll see a vision of that pink rose.
Okay.
Okay. And what that means for you is connect with your heart. Take a deep breath. And together we will calm the energy so that we can make a decision that opens up the highest timeline for you. So she says, notice that I didn't show you a flashing green light, like a
Right.
traffic light, right? And I didn't show you an amber warning traffic light sign. And I didn't show you a red stop sign or a red light at a traffic light. Okay.
Right.
The pink rose means connect with your heart and come and center yourself, and together we will make a decision. If I ever have something that I need to communicate with you, it will always be come back to your heart. I will never show you those signs because, and I'm making this for Katische as well as for you, it is your other family members and your higher self and your spirit guides who will show you symbols. So Katische gets a skull. The skull to her means if you make this decision today, you are going on the timeline of death. Okay. And so that is because she has had soul contracts that she had to do work to overcome. Otherwise, she would have died. And there have been many of those. So she has a baseline fear about that. And so we now flash a death symbol to a skull. To her, skulls mean death. And so when she sees that, she knows I'm not moving anywhere. I'm not going out that door. I'm staying here right now. But she's saying that's how you'll know you communicate with me is you'll see an image of me and a rose, and together we will come back into your heart space, and I will never show you a traffic light or any other symbol. That's how you know it's me, Diane. Okay.
So
Cool.
I'll see Mary and then the pink rose.
Yeah. And sometimes you may only be able to access the pink rose.
Okay.
You know, because sometimes we get into that fear and we can't access the heart space. So she's saying, if you see me first, perfect. You know you're in the state ready. But if you don't, and you see the rose, it's because you need to come into the heart space, and then we will make together a decision that opens your highest timeline. And that for you will help you with the thoughts and emotions that can cloud the path. So she's showing me like Robert Frost's poem, The Two Paths. You know, I walked in the woods and there were two paths. She's showing me that when you get at a point where you can't make a decision, it clouds over for you and you can only see one path. And so what she wants you to do is to connect with her so that together you can go back into that heart space, and then you can see that maybe there's not two roads that diverge in the woods. Maybe there's 5 roads, but you can't access those other 3 at that moment. And then she has the authority, because of your connections with her and because of the divine feminine energy that you bring that you aren't tapping into quite yet, that she is here to guide you into that divine feminine energy. And she said, although there may be 1 or 2 other people who are standing by to talk to you from her current life, and we'll get to your mother later, she said, the single biggest change, because Katische set this intention for change, that you can make in your life that will connect the flow of wealth in terms of cash, which will help you with your business, is the connection to the divine feminine and the feminine energy. She said, when you believe in the feminine, in guiding your choices, rather than the masculine energy, then you will receive more, as she goes, moolah, cash, digital coin, currency, invoices, invoice payments, whatever you want to call it. But she said that the key to you is your interaction and time with the divine feminine. And she said, it doesn't always have to be me. You can connect with other divine feminine beings from this world and the next, meaning other beings, whoever speaks to that space in your heart when you are searching. We all have the same teachings. We all have the same messages. Sorry, moving some energy. But we show them in symbols and words, in music, in nature, and different ways of being that can connect with you. And she says why that's important is the masculine energy, and Jesus is there, hi Jesus, and there's also Archangel Michael there as well. They're showing me, because you know how Archangel Michael shows to Katische in a suit, right? They're showing me that the masculine side of business, and you're a businesswoman, you're an entrepreneur, works from the conscious mind, automatically goes from the conscious mind, and refers to the subconscious mind as a backup. But the masculine is in the moment, here and now, very fast decision making, very gut-based, very, I can shut the whole world down and I can make decisions that I am certain about, you know. Don't muck with me, I'm going down this path. And that's great and that's fine. But for you, the challenge is, and it's not a challenge, the path forward to your highest timeline in this lifetime is the feminine energy that you are asked to embody now and to become. So she says, where you are showing yourself, and she says, I can see this because obviously I don't watch Instagram. Well, Katisha's not even on Instagram, but I don't watch reels, and I can see the vision is playing in my mind that Katisha showed me through the reels on the media that's called TikTok, is that you are showing, forget what the images show, but what is the feeling behind those? The feeling is of great love for your family. The feeling in those is, I am the mother and I am the wife. Now she says, congratulations. I am the wife. And I am also she says, not quite yet mother-in-law, but a mother-in-law kind of a figure to my son's girlfriend. And when I'm around her, she says, you can see in the photos, you glow. So she's asking you to connect with situations, opportunities, choices, locations and venues, and people where you feel that inner motherly glow. Because these are the people who bring out that divine feminine essence in you. And it doesn't have to be in a work situation, but what she says is the greatest change in life you will actually get. And I just saw an image, she showed me a person in my life that I get this from, is that there are certain people that you have met or you will meet that, for privacy reasons, we don't put it on a podcast, but when you're around them, you get that glow. And it's not about you being a protective motherly, I have to do this for them kind of a feeling. It's the essence of Diane is glowing. The essence of Diane is allowed to be a woman. The essence of Diane is feeling joy and she exudes happiness. You know, it's a bit like when you see two friends get together and you think, wow, they must have known each other for a long time because their energy matches and they bring joy out in each other. And it could be they just met at a coffee shop. But those are the people and the situations and the activities that she wants you to look for, because what you do, as you have rightly said in your reels, is what you do in your personal life and how you spend money in your personal life and how you allow yourself to receive gifts of experiences from your beloved husband, for example, are going to be the way that fuels that divine feminine energy. Because you must remember, marriage, which is what you have entered into, a holy covenant, says, I am incarnated as a woman in this lifetime. She does not mean this to be controversial, but in this role and in this lifetime that I have chosen, he embodies physically a masculine and I embody physically a female. Together we create a union and a covenant. And what I, as Diane, need to allow him to do is for him to be the God and me to be the goddess, priestess, whatever feminine word you use. And together we create one energy. And so she's saying specifically that any investment you can trust in doing and automatically do to be around other people who embody the divine feminine energy is going to bring untold joy to you. And when you radiate joy, what happens? People want to be around you. People want to help you. And it's not a victim kind of a help. It's a, wow, she's got beautiful energy. What can I do to be in service of her? And when they are in service of you, they may come up with an idea which gives you a new location for your studio. Or maybe it's that you don't need a studio anymore. You just need the online space. But she says, so when you connect with me and any other divine feminine beings, you can connect with that rose and that heart space, and we can show you, yes, that energy makes that pink rose illuminate. You can almost see the aura around that pink rose. Or no, the energy of this space, it's a shriveled rose. Don't go there. Or the energy of this particular person or location or course or video or whatever you're doing is a new bud. It's not a full rose, but if I nurture it and go down here, the bud will bloom. And then obviously a full big rose is, this is the energy that I am embodying, and this is who I am in all my glory. Okay, that seems to be the end of the transmission from her. So does that make sense to you?
Yes, yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, it was great.
Okay, so that's an important piece to do with the money. And now your mum says, Diane, please don't forget, when we did do the sessions, which will remain private right now, we did do a lot of lying down work where you felt where in your body the energy was holding you back, right? And so you were able to connect with your body and remove emotions. Do you remember how we did that lying down?
Yeah.
Yep. So she said what she would like to see you do, and she's holding out her hand because she can help you with this, is because she is healed, is she, if you are feeling fear that is different to what Mother Mary talked about, lie down on your bed, preferably, but it can be on a couch or with your dog, but preferably not with the dogs because they interfere with your energy of connecting with her. The dogs and animals in general, they bring their vibration to help heal you. But what she wants you to do is to say, when you're alone, lie down and hold out your hand and say, Mum, I need you right now. And what you will feel is that she will direct you to connect with the space in your body where that emotion that is holding you back can be found. Right? Okay. And then you will need to learn to connect with the wisdom, the conscious, the sentience of your body. Because as we know, in all of the teachings, we have a body that can heal itself. Right? And she says, I didn't have the access to this in my life. And as you know, I was clouded in my head and I could not see that. And that was part of my challenge of my lifetime. But what I can see very clearly now is the trauma that you have gone through in your body, and you know that we have done this in the private sessions with Katische to do with the breast cancer, is that your body knows how to store emotion and trauma. And when you are able to connect with the sentience of the body, that is going to be your greatest asset in this earthly lifetime, other than the connection to Mother Mary and to myself, because we will no longer need the services of someone like Katische or a Reiki practitioner or even an acupuncturist. She says, well done. She's showing clapping hands. You needed to remove that energy today to be open to the messages in this session. So in the interim, continue with acupuncture, but the body can do its own internal acupuncture if you connect with the sentience of the body, because it's not personified, but she, for you, is a she. Like Katische's body is a she, and I was, there you go, you know that I was allowed to watch as she was learning this week so that I could be a guide for you in this, because it can take a while, because as she says, if you don't mind, your body is a bit still bristly towards you, like a little bit angry, because it's been a long journey for your body. And she shows me the picture of you with a shaved head that you've been sharing in your TikTok reels, which is quite emotional for Katische, because Katische shaved her hair off also, but not obviously due to a cancer struggle, but due to her own symbolic breakdown in her own marriage. And she says when Katische sees that, she feels her own journey, and she sees your own struggle that you have overcome to get to where you are today. But what I'm here, my dear, is to show you that when I come to you, I want you to not see the vision of how you saw me in my last days. I need you to get past that. I need you to realize that your true wealth in this lifetime, from my perspective as your mother, darling, is not for you to remember me as me. She says, when you remember me as me, the body still contains grief, okay? And I have come through in other messages via Katische, but now it's really time for us to establish, oh, she's got lovely energy. She just showed me how she wants to be seen. And she doesn't want you to connect with the energy of her birth name. She wants you to connect with the energy of her higher self. And her higher self just showed me an image of a beautiful maiden. If you imagined like a maiden who was in England, and she has long flowing hair, brown, and she wears like a Jane Austen gown. So, you know, it's fitted to the bust and then it flares out. And it's got that handiwork. And she's got beautiful alabaster skin and rosy cheeks. And she's not wearing ornate anything that shows wealth or, symbols of being a king or a queen or a princess or whatever. She's showing that her true essence is femininity, because she's a female soul, right? And she said that although somebody might go, there's no such thing as a male or a female soul, in current human understanding, yes, our soul identifies with one particular identity. And her soul identifies with a very, very feminine energy. And what she is wanting to do is for you to learn to see that image of her like I have seen her. Mm-hmm. And then when you connect with mum, I need help, you're not connecting with mum. You're connecting with the higher self of your mum. And then when that happens, then you and mum, the higher self version of mum, okay, she's given herself a name, and the English interpretation is like Esmeralda, Esmeraldine. It's something like that you'll get it better. And she wants to work with you in harmony to teach you how to work with your body to remove that grief from her lifetime, so that she doesn't want to hold you back anymore. And she knows that you don't think necessarily that you're being held back. But what she's showing you is the other facet of true wealth is understanding that in the future, when the time comes for your father to go, you are going to find it more difficult than when she went, because your father, and she says this from the highest self perspective, holds a very special, dear part in your heart because of the fact of your relationship, but also because he's the one that's left, right? And like anybody who has aging parents, there's part of us, and Katisha's struggling. She says, I've been watching you with an opportunity. And she thinks, but how can I be there for my mother? Because her father's in the light. So it's the reverse situation. She doesn't want you to add a layer of grief to the body that would be on top of the layer of grief that is still in there from her passing. And so her primary objective is to show you the wealth that is available for you is in that relationship with her higher self. Because as she just showed Katische, sorry, sometimes my higher self just talks in as well. And she just showed me, you have connected with her and her higher self in many, many lifetimes. And what is left in this lifetime to do is to have Mother Mary and the higher self of your mother as your guiding principles, beacons of light in terms of femininity. So this is coming really through strongly, is the femininity takes you out of the struggle. The femininity brings you the interpretation of true wealth in your career and with money, with your family and with your relationships, because what you are providing is the alchemy for others to see that, here we go. So there are other factors that are going on in the world at the moment that have to do with, as I don't know if you saw Lalitha's episode on my podcast about the age of goddesses. And she says there's no, I'm getting word stuck. There is no reason to not understand the distinction between the way her higher self has shown her as like this goddess, this British princess goddess figure, because the divine feminine has been suppressed. And we won't go into this right now, but it's not necessarily and only because of the divine masculine and this whole interplay that has been going out for eons on Earth. There are other factors that we don't wish to speak about today that have been influencing. So think nothing to do with humanity, think to do with other influences that have been influencing the suppression of the divine feminine on Earth. So when we say to you that your two beacons are the divine feminine, your mother has had a big role through all the ages in trying to heal both her own journey through the divine feminine suppression, and also she's coming to show you in her lifetime what happens when you suppress it in many ways in your own life and just let the divine masculine through. You become an angry person, and you have, when there's a lack of balance, there can be mental agitation. And so what she says is, even though you think, what kind of a message is this? This is a really important message, because the whole of humanity is struggling with, how does an entrepreneur that is feminine succeed without turning herself into the masculine? Do we have to become witches again? Do we have to go back into the world of potion making and reclaim our identity as a witch? No, we don't. A witch was a very specific path for certain people. And yes, we all have to reconnect with Mother Gaia. But to move forward, humanity needs to understand that there are different ways of doing business. And business doesn't have to be all corporate focused. And you saw yourself in that session we did where you were the head of the psychology institution. And that was a choice. And that didn't appeal because it was very corporate and very structured and very in the masculine. You didn't choose the masculine option for a reason. And there are ways that corporations can develop on Earth that are in their feminine, but using the masculine input. And so part of the rise of the feminine is not to squash the masculine. It's actually this other work that Katische does in different sessions that are removing the soul obstructions. But she says you don't need to worry about that. But what she's trying to demonstrate is that this is important for humanity to understand that we can create new models and ways of being, new income streams and new businesses to help people that is different, but it also doesn't go back to the past. You know, it doesn't revisit what so many people are trying to do with modeling exact career profiles that worked in the past. Because we are not in the past, we are in the present. And in the present, we are just simply allowing the union. That was interesting. I got the word conclave, but if you could imagine the conclave, so the recent Pope just got elected and there's a lot about the conclave. If you could imagine that in the future, if humanity decided to go that way, a conclave would not be a circle of women sitting in a grass with flowers on their head, all in white flowing tunics, with some kind of an invisible protection or tetrahedron so the men can't be there. And it would not also be a bunch of women priests who are selected only because of their gender. And so there would be a 50-50, 50% male priests, 50% female priests. That's fake balance. It would be a blend of a female priest in her feminine energy, you know, and a male in his masculine energy. And then there would be a male priest in his feminine energy, and, you know, a female priest in her masculine energy. Do you see how it balances out? Mm-hmm. So she says, this is the single biggest change you can make, is to work with me as not your mother, but as my identity in spirit, so that we can help your business flow from the way that source energy wishes to create businesses in the future. And she says she's mindful that our time is about to run out, but so she wants to say that this message contains the seeds of what can be, but she realizes that you are a woman. You are here to help your children and your father as well. And there are many blessings to be learned from spending time with your father. But also, you need to understand how to model, this is interesting, how to model a new way to help people let go. And she says one of your superpowers is understanding grief, because it is an emotion that you are aware of, because, as you know, the lungs store, and so do the breast, the soft tissue, grief. And she says she wants you to, and Archangel Michael is kind of indicating time, but he's indicating that it's time for you to understand, sorry, I'm getting itchy nose, that, oh, do you have an allergy to smoke?
Yes.
Yeah, that's why it's getting insanely itchy. We can blow as much smoke in your face as we like. This is Archangel Michael coming in sarcastic. He's just sort of like pushed your mum aside for a minute. He's like, I've got 1 minute and it's my turn. Man, sorry, really itchy. We can blow as much smoke in your face as you like to say there's a fire under your nose. Are you paying attention to us as well? But sometimes your deepest, darkest moments may not be the may not be the cancer battle itself, but the lessons you learn from grief. And he says from his perspective in the masculine, he would like you to consider. And he understands that you may like to take Mother Mary's approach as well. But next time you get a really scratchy, bloody nose moment, say to yourself, what is Archangel Michael trying to tell me now? And most likely there's a wisdom about grief that you can help people with. And it's one of your superpowers if you choose to accept it. And your journey with your dad in the future and your journey with your mum in this lifetime have shown you that through the feminine energy and through the masculine energy, you have got in your soul a model for grief. You have got something very special, and I didn't expect this to be it. If I could imagine everything that you've done, you have got a superpower in there that can transcend all your struggles with helping people with grief, not for free. It's like, I'm in my business stripe suit right now. This is commercial. And it's a new offering, and it doesn't come under the heading of Reiki. It's got its own brand new name, and it's an amalgamation or hybridization or whatever, just like Katische struggles with different names, and she calls it quantum soul therapy, and then now she's called it soul obstruction releasement therapy. We have a name for this offering. So once you have connected with Mother Mary and you've done your work with the higher self of your mother and you're embodying the divine feminine, he says he hopes you've accepted the blue rose, that you've listened all the way through one of Katische's podcast episodes and taken Zadkiel's rose, and he's going to hold out a blue rose for you to take now. If you accept my blue rose, then you will no longer see me just as an archangel to call on for spiritual protection or whatever the world calls Archangel Michael. But for you and me, he says, we're here to build a new model and a way of being that may involve books, it may involve courses, it may involve, he says, I'm not going to tell the world this is going to the podcast, right? So this is your private equity, private intelligence. But inside your heart, there is, if you will accept the rose, a place for the blue rose, and we will work together to help humanity and specifically your clients with the inner brilliance that is you, that has to do with grief. Right. That's all they have for me today. So how do you feel about those messages, and particularly that one from Archangel Michael?
That's a lot. You have to send me a podcast I have to listen to. Yeah, it's surprising because I feel like I've struggled with grief.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, so a lot to think about. So, yeah, he said you're moving, and he says one last thing, Katische, and then I'll go. He said you're moving on from this premise for a reason, this location. And it is linked to this mission that he has for you. Yeah. And he's sort of like, there's nothing to cry about, because I just sort of got this feeling of sadness. It's just the itching is gone now. It's just that, like Archangel Zadkiel tried for me for many lifetimes to get through to me when I was a Roman. He said he's been trying to get through to you but he needs you to see through the facade of your religion of origin to connect with the masculine essence of who he is. And he says the reason why Katische got sad again is he's like, oh, I just had to hand Michael over to Cindy, and now I'm handing him back over to Diane. And I'm like, I want it for me. He's like, you know that I don't stay with one person. My energy is infinite. But he says, I need you to look through the divinity of the typical archetype of an archangel to see that I've got a message for you. You don't have to accept it, but this is his interpretation. The one thing that you can change, it showed you 3 steps. Well, they've also just 3 steps. Mother Mary, to connect with decision pathways, the higher self of your mother, to heal the grief out of your body. And then he will work with you on the offering that you will bring to the world that encapsulates all of those and says, this is Diane's superstar moment. Not superstar, but her soul aches to help. And it comes through the divine feminine, but also the divine masculine. He's the divine masculine. So, but you have to work on the divine feminine first, and to trust that you can do this. It's all down to whether you accept it, because it has to be right for you. But as he said, you can always go back to Mother Mary and put that rose in your heart, sit with her and say, Archangel Michael just presented me with an option. Does it appeal to us? I just saw her clapping, but again, it's your lifetime, Diane, and your choice. And every single day, like you could say to me, that didn't come up in the healer's path, but you're a different person than when we did those sessions. Every decision you make makes new choices and changes, and different pathways open up. Since we did those sessions, you got married. So you're a whole new different woman every time you wake up. You know, in every moment, you're a different woman. And so these were the strongest messages that wanted to come through. And you had 2 spiritual beings and then a current lifetime, which is your mother, but she's urged you not to see you as her mother, your mother anymore. She urged you to see you as her higher self. So anyway, so that was a fascinating first session.
It was.
You'll get a copy of this.
Oh, great.
And you can watch it back over or take notes or whatever. But the world is your oyster, so to speak, and this sounds like a very beautiful and fulfilling path forward on all of those options as far as I can see. But yeah, if I were you, I'd just go down when you get home, just draw 3 circles. And if you need to, just put mum in the middle. Well, no, don't put mum. Draw something, a visualization in that circle that means the higher self of your mother. Draw something like the pink rose that represents Mother Mary. And in the 3rd circle, draw something to you that represents Archangel Michael, like a blue rose, and stick it on your wall. These are my 3 circles. And this will bring you my true wealth in this lifetime, according to the 2nd of June, 2025, and who I am on this day.
Okay, I'll do that. Okay, thank you. It was great. Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome.
Great.
All right.
Okay.
It's time for me to go make my kids breakfast. So I will send you
Great. Different worlds. Okay, bye. Thanks.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Well, we will. Yep.